Hey, welcome back to Spectre Comics. I'm Mike. Today we're going to do a video tutorial on how to draw a dragon. And with the recent release of How to Train Your Dragon 3, I thought it would be fun to draw Toothless, the main dragon from that movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just start out by doing a sketch of the skeleton of Toothless. I'm going to flash a picture on the screen that I'm kind of using as a reference for the character, so I'll show that now. And you can see that he's kind of standing on a rock. He's kind of looking off triumphantly into the distance off to the right, and he's got his wings spread, so this is like a fun picture to draw. So let's get started. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, in a light gray, just start sketching. Now, before I even actually put the pen to the tablet, I'm going to say I'm using a Wacom Cintiq HD13 HD drawing tablet, and I'm using Photoshop Elements 2016 to draw this. You can easily just pull out a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and follow along. I like to use pencil when I'm using paper. That way I can erase. But this allows me, drawing on the tablet allows me to capture the screen so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and I can kind of talk through my process here. So let's get going. So as I said, we're just going to start by sketching out in light gray the skeleton of Toothless. I usually use a head, start with the head, and then draw the spinal cord down the back. Show a rib cage and a hip box, and then we'll throw the legs off. And again, you're going to be making adjustments as you go constantly. You'll see a line in the wrong place, you'll erase. And, you know, this is again really sketchy, and we're just trying to get the feel of where the arms, legs, head, neck, body is in 3D space. So here I'm drawing the forearms. Again, he's perched up on a rock, and we'll get the rock in there in a minute. But we're just kind of getting the body set, and now that the rock is going in, you can kind of see that the hips are probably a little too high and the legs need to be lowered. So I can actually grab that whole area and kind of just move it down. Instead of having to erase, I can actually just pick up a piece and move it around. Cleaning up the rib cage. Drawing the arms back in. Again, I'm just getting the feel for where everything goes in space. I'm just going to add the tail here, and then I'm going to draw the wings on a separate layer. You'll probably notice that the drawing is going really fast. I've sped this up. This drawing took me about an hour and a half to do, so to make the video a reasonable amount of time, I sped it up about 300%. So we're just getting the wings in here, and we're just kind of getting the basic shape of the wing. Again, really sketchy, really crude. And once we finish kind of sketching the model, we can kind of move into an inking layer. So I keep the light gray layer behind just as a reference of where I'm going to be drawing the final lines. And again, I'm now using a black pen to kind of draw more finalized lines. So we'll start with the head area, and I'm kind of working on the eyes here. And Toothless's head is a little difficult, especially the angle he's looking on. And one of the eyes is not visible because it's kind of tucked into an eye socket. And he doesn't really have a pronounced beak like some dragons have been created having. He's got these little extensions from his head, and he's got a wide jaw with a mouth that kind of comes across and kind of goes back around the face. And I'm just kind of getting the tooth line here. I'm going to move pieces of the face around, the nostrils, the eyes, just to kind of try them in different spots to see what looks right, what feels good. I constantly draw lines, erase lines, move lines around. It's just part of the process of kind of figuring out where things go. I'm going to move the head a little forward because it was kind of tucked too back. It actually sticks out a little further. And then just kind of thicken the lines as I go. I like to use varying line weights to kind of give a 3D feel to anything I draw. Line weights can really add some dimension to what you're drawing. So you're going to have thicker and thinner lines. Because I'm using Photoshop, what I tend to do is I'll draw some lines, and we're drawing with pixels here. So what I like to do is use the eraser tool to kind of erase lines and kind of shave away to get the line thickness. You'll notice that I have kind of a, like at the brow, I'll have a thicker line in the middle, and then as it kind of tapers off, it thins out, and that gives a real sense of depth to anything you're drawing. Kind of working on the neck here. He's got some muscles in the neck. If you think back to the reference drawing, he's got his neck twisted, so you kind of want the muscles to kind of look like they're stretching in the direction he's turning. So most of the stuff that we're drawing here is actually not hard lines. It's a 3D rendered image. And so a lot of the things that we're actually in this line work drawing as lines is actually muscle tone, and it's defined by shade and shadow on the rendered picture that we looked at. So I kind of have to guess where a line is. We're not showing shade and shadow here, so we're not really defining, ripples in the skin or anything like that. This is all just line work. So we're kind of filling in the forearms. Toothless's feet don't really have like a paw. He's kind of got like a club with claws at the end of it. It's kind of grasping the rock, so we're kind of filling that in. And as I look at this now, it kind of looks like the arm is a little too skinny, so we'll get that fixed. Right now I'm kind of playing with the mouth, filling in the tooth area. So the teeth kind of curve around and kind of go back into the jaw. And I'm kind of just drawing a line as a guide because he actually has individual teeth that kind of stick down. So you can kind of see how the mouth, you can see through the mouth, and kind of the back of the inside of the mouth kind of curves down. I'm going to put the jaw in here to kind of define the rest of the head as being a separate element from the neck. He's got these little extensions on his jawline. We'll get the rest of the neck in. And again, here's where we're drawing the kind of the muscle of the neck, kind of as he's turning his neck. So this little area here kind of defines that muscle that sticks out. And we're just kind of getting the shape of it, but we're going to kind of shave it away and clean it up. Now the wing has kind of acts as a separate arm, and it's got a shoulder and a bicep and actually what looks like an elbow. And that forms the structure of the wing. And kind of up at the top of the wing, it kind of looks like where the wrist would connect to a hand. So we're just kind of defining the wing here, but again, it is like it looks like an arm that's kind of bent up. And it's kind of like a bat. He's very similar to a bat wing, the structure of a bat wing, where a bat's arms are the wings. Now, Toothless has wings on his back, but he's also got kind of legs. We're just kind of filling out the rest of the wing here, and kind of the wing actually connects all the way down the back. So I'm going to kind of play with where the lines go, how it connects to kind of the side as it goes down his back. And you'll notice I kind of jump around a lot. I kind of see things and I kind of jump around the drawing. So I'll work on the face, then I'll jump to the wing, and then I'll jump to the arm, and I'll just kind of see things I want to fix. This is kind of a very erratic artist in that sense, where I'll work on one piece and then not finish it, but move on to another piece. Because what we're kind of doing here is, now that I have my skeleton, I can kind of work on various parts of it. And, I'll zoom in and out. And that's one of the things about working on a tablet is I can zoom in really close, but the detriment of that is I can't always see the whole picture when you're looking at one little piece. So you kind of have to zoom in and out to kind of see what you're working on and how the whole thing looks. And then you'll say, oh, I got to change this. I got to move that. I got to erase that. I got to redraw that line. So I'll constantly be moving around the entire model or the entire body of what I'm drawing and work on various elements. But as you zoom out, you get to see the full picture and make the adjustments as you see things, because you'll move some lines where you want them, and then you're like, oh, I can fix this area now. So I'm like, here, I'm constantly redrawing, the way the wing connects to the back, because I want to make sure that the body follows the spine, goes down to the hip area, and then extends to the wings that kind of curl around. The wings are like up, and they kind of curl over. Draw the structure of the wings, that kind of like on a bat's wings, what would be the bones that kind of come to or kind of like an umbrella, like the spokes of an umbrella that stick out and kind of give shape to the fabric of the umbrella, so that these little lines give shape to the wing of the dragon. So here we're going to kind of fill out the rest of the legs. Now, the structure of a four-legged animal's legs is that the knee bends backwards, unlike our legs, which bend forwards. So when I was younger, I used to forget that was the case, and I'd draw the knee going the wrong way. But the knees bend. You've got a joint at the hip, and then a joint at the knee, and then kind of a joint down by the paw area. Draw this. Again, here's where I can kind of see. I zoomed in, I drew it a little too close, but I can pick this whole area up and kind of move it so it looks a little more correct. And now I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the extra lines and just extra ink that's kind of around the drawing. Can clean up the second wing on the left, the background. Again, here's where I would kind of clean up the lines, and I would work on just kind of shaving the lines down to be smooth. One of the things that's a little hard to do when you're drawing on a tablet is I can't turn the paper like as if I was drawing on a piece of paper. So I have to kind of draw across, and it's hard to get long, smooth lines, always drawing across from left to right. I can turn the tablet a little bit and draw it. And some people actually, there is a way to turn your screen. So I can click in Photoshop and turn the screen, rotate it left to right. But what happens is it changes the proportion of your drawing, and it causes problems when you do that, because I may turn it to the left to draw a line, straight down. And then when I turn right, the proportion is off. I don't know why it does this. It's just kind of one of the weird things about Photoshop. So I tend to just try to keep the drawing oriented, up, down, left, right correctly, and not turn the page. But I can move the tablet around on my desk and to give myself a different angle to draw left or right. Again, kind of just working my way around the face, cleaning up and playing with the line thicknesses. These little extensions on the head are one of the unique features of Toothless, and got to get them the right shape. Shaving the jawline, cleaning up these little smaller extensions on the jaw. And just in case that wasn't clear, the gray lines that are in the background are on a different layer. So when we're done with the black lines we're drawing on now, you can actually just turn that off. If you're using pencil and paper, your sketch should be very light pencil. And then as you draw your more finalized lines, you'll draw those darker, and then you can erase in between the dark lines to get rid of your light gray lines. So your sketchy lines, your really sketchy skeleton lines should be very light. Another thing you can do is you can use a blue pencil, and a blue pencil won't photocopy. So if you draw your model in light blue and then you can ink over it, you can make a photocopy, and it won't photocopy the blue. Also, if you scan and put it in Photoshop, you can isolate the blue lines and just erase those. So a lot of older artists that drew with black, they would draw in blue lines and then ink the drawing, and then they would just, in the photocopy process, the blue lines would not print. I had real trouble with the eye on the right because it's not visible and it's kind of tucked into a shadow in the eye socket as you curve around the face. So I constantly had to redraw this to get it right. I don't even think I liked the end result here, but I kept moving things around and trying different shapes. The brow kind of comes across and continues onto over the other eye. And I actually think the left eye is in the wrong spot. I might have to move that over. The eye kind of has a little lower lid here, kind of like the line that kind of defines that gives a little depth to the eye. It's not just flat on the face. It's got a little lower eyelid, which is what the line is. Here we're going to kind of clean the mouth up. Again, I've changed the mouth shape a couple times. I've changed the eye shapes a couple times. I've erased the right side of the face a couple times. Again, you're going to try different things. You're going to erase and draw the lines again until it looks right to you. And nobody draws it perfect the first time. It's all about trial and error. Here I'm going to actually move part of the face forward to kind of extend the upper jaw past the lower jaw. They were kind of too even there. Then I can kind of clean up the brow line and try again with that right eye. I actually went back to the sketch layer to just try to kind of create a snout as a reference, and then I can go back with my final inks and try that eye again. This gives me a better frame of reference of where the nose is in relation to the eye, because the right eye kind of curves around the nose. So here we're kind of filling in the teeth in the mouth, the black of the mouth, the shadow, kind of smoothing the jawline and the lips. And we'll fill in the teeth here. Kind of just cleaning up the teeth. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the polygonal marquee tool to fill in the whole mouth. I can kind of click around of where I want the shadow to be, and then I can just fill it in with black real easily. Face looks a little better here. I think I feel better about it now. I'm going to go back, work on the arm, clean up the wing, the shoulder of the wing, and the forearm. And the lines are now starting to kind of come together. Again, you can still see the sketchy skeleton in the background. Thought I did a pretty good job kind of getting it kind of laid out, even though we moved a few lines around. I think I'm going to lower the head, make it a little more squat, because Toothless does have a very, very flat head. And so that looks a little better. I'm going to move the eye up like I mentioned earlier. That's kind of coming together. Just kind of go around and clean up some lines, play with the line thicknesses, kind of make them look a little more final instead of really sketchy like they started out being. Gonna just kind of work around the body, fill in the tail. This is the tail at the underside. Clean up the bend of the knee. Thicken the legs. His forearms and forelegs are very thick. So I made the line weight thicker, and then as it comes to a joint, it gets a little thinner. Kind of clean up the tail. Has a kind of like a fin on it. So we're kind of working on that here. I'm just kind of shaving the lines. The fins are thin. The tail's, he's got a pretty thick tail. The fin kind of wraps around, and we're just kind of getting those to a point. I don't want them to be too pointy, so I kind of work on ending in more of a curvy point than a very sharp point at the end of the fins. Just make it a little thicker. And this is an example. The wings are an example of where I had a long curve that I wanted to draw smooth, but I kind of just had to. I couldn't turn the paper to get that smooth line across. It's much easier to drag across than it is up and down. And if I have a long, smooth curve, I have to draw up and down. It's hard to get that clean. But I just turn my tablet so I can draw that line. So I'm going to use the polygonal marquee tool to just kind of clip areas and erase. Then I can smooth it out later. So since the wing kind of curves around, I want that line to be a little thinner on the back and a little thicker where the edge of the wing is, kind of the area I'm cleaning up now. Clean up the sketchy lines of the structure of the wing. Kind of make them look a little more final. Really just shaving and cleaning up the lines. Now we're getting very close to the final product. I'm gonna fix the rock real quick. Just kind of make it a little cleaner. The focus wasn't really on the rock, but I do want him to stand on something. The cool thing about drawing, I drew the rock on a different layer, so I can draw over Toothless without erasing any of the lines of the dragon. So kind of just fill that in, make it look kind of jagged. Clean up around the toenail so it looks like he's sitting on the rock with his nails coming over. So here we go, and this is the final product. It just turned off the sketch layers, and that is the final product. I'm going to show you a colored inversion. Toothless is a Night Fury, so he's black. He's got black scales. I did him in like a dark gray. Here's the reference image again, and again the final image. Just added a little color to kind of show you what the final product looks like. I think it looks pretty good. So that's how you draw Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. I hope you had fun and were able to follow along. If you liked the video and found it helpful, go ahead and click the thumbs up button. If you want more videos just like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I also do videos on how to create comics, how to write, draw, print, all aspects of comic book creation. And if you have any suggestions on what to draw next, go ahead and leave a comment below and we'll try to put a video together on that topic. I'm going to have links to my Spectre Comics website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram in the description below as well. If you have any comments, questions, or great thoughts, go ahead and put that in the comment section below as well. That's it for this video, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks.